Hey Scorpio, I hope you guys are doing well. This is going to be a general reading for Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus for the last 2 weeks of June. And we're still going to be focusing, just going to be finishing up this the eclipse information, okay? I'm going to be going back to just dealing with like normal readings for the beginning of July, but I wanted to give you guys a heads up, speak more specifically about the eclipses that are coming up. Next month, the Cancer Capricorn eclipse, and which houses it's going to be really hitting you guys. I did talk about it more in the beginning of June read, so I do recommend you guys checking out like the first 9 or 10 minutes of that, just to get more information, because they did go into specifics as far as how there are 3 different, levels of Scorpio. There's early degree, middle degree, and late degree, and how the eclipse is going to be hitting each set of degrees a little bit differently. So we're dealing here, I did pull the cards, the astrology cards, for the houses that are going to be affecting you guys the most. So we have the 9th house, the 3rd, the 8th, and the 2nd. So these houses are going to be like in a polarity with each other, which just simply means that things are going to be eclipsed out of one and things are going to be eclipsed in from the other. And it's just going to be like this swapping out of energy that's going to be happening. All right. And again, guys, for those of you who didn't watch the one for the first 2 weeks of June, it's a 2-year narrative that we end up going through. Okay. A 2-year narrative. So it started really like last July, and you guys should be feeling the shifts. We have this kind of culmination boiling up next month, but we're feeling it big time since the middle of May. Many of us have been feeling it, especially cardinal signs, but everybody's feeling it. And it's not, this narrative isn't going to wrap up until next July, all in. But because these houses are so affected, and a lot of people are asking a lot of we have other stuff going on in the sky. We have Mercury is in shadow, and we have other stuff going on. But I'm just gonna, and there's so many amazing tarot readers and astrologers that you can get that information from. But I wanted to pull some energies just for the eclipses, what we're gonna be doing here, okay? Just that, to be forewarned is to be forearmed sometimes. Oh, and just before we get into it, so these are going to be discussing the eclipses, but these 2 rows of chakra cards are going to be just dealing with that last 2 week of June period in relation to the house that we're talking about. Okay, so we have the 9th house, which is the house of faith. It's all about philosophies and beliefs, as well as your level of faith. This is the house position for Sagittarius. It's ruled by Jupiter, which is the planet of openness and expansion. And it's the house of travel, your philosophical beliefs of the world. Okay, your beliefs of religion, your belief system. This has a lot to do with destiny, fate, and karma come into play here, as well as how you view God, what you think God is or is not. All right, very much a high-minded house, and many of you are going to feel changes here. So besides reconsidering your global views about life and all that means, this is also going to be a time to consider your future plans in the broadest of terms, though. And as you rethink the path of your life, you're going to be feeling maybe a little bit disconnected from your close friends and family during this process, which is perfectly natural and normal and healthy. Okay, it just is. I mean, this is like a very global kind of thing. But guys, remember this, the culmination of the eclipses can feel like they're out of the blue, but they're really not. Again, this is a 2-year narrative that ends up rolling out. Okay, so the message of advice from the universe is semi-sextile, which is allowing, and this is just to adopt the energy of a semi-sextile. And this aspect advice is that there is no need for radical action right now, but rather this is more of an introspective energy. So rather ask yourself, start thinking about how you can begin to chip away at your possibly outdated belief system. Where you're guarding certain perspectives, that you've held dear for a long time. And where could you benefit from some revamping, in that area? And this really could be as simple as listening to a friend's perspective on, on the same problem to gain some different insight. This is a time to think about how you view different emotions, love, anger, all different emotions here. How do you view them? Get in touch with how you view these things and try to embrace the notion that there are many ways that these things can be handled, that there's no one way to love, and there's no one type of angry response. And it's just to open yourself up to understanding the different ways to process emotions, and you're going to really see how beautifully this ends up affecting your 9th house of faith. Okay, so that's the advice from the universe. Now, breaking it down now into the last 2 weeks of June, the first energy that we have is the 7 of coins, and we're using the chakra deck. So this is a crown chakra energy. This is all about you tapping into your higher consciousness. This is a Saturn and Taurus energy. I say Taurus energy, and this indicates that this is a time to really go inside, and understand that this is about working right now. Okay, you really need to come to terms with that in yourself. Like, let this space be a time for you to work and not stop and reflect. This energy is all about doing and not philosophizing. So even though the effort here may seem pretty relentless, your hard work's definitely going to pay off. This indicates you need to keep the focus on your goals and to work through any particular tedious stage in a current situation that leaves you feeling very tired and deflated, even emotionally drained. Now, this can indicate many of you saving for a home or saving in general. But for others of you, this can indicate that there's just not enough money left over for the little luxuries that you like to indulge in, which is really disheartening for you. And it's going to be maybe putting a dampen on your spirit right now. But keep going, because this says that you're almost there, and your future self is really going to thank you for maintaining the dedication. And you're being very supported by faith here, which is great. Okay, and then we have the World reverse. This is a beautiful card. This tells me that you're ready to move on, but you feel blocked in some way, or you feel like you're not deserving of something. Okay, this can also show holding on to one ambition that eludes you, and if so, it's time to redefine what you want and make those adjustments in your expectations, since this does indicate you might be clinging on to a dream or a hope, to the exclusion of all else. But the World is such a positive card that even though it's reverse and these negatives here, might be annoying, they're minor. Just something that you're going to have to deal with, because you are going to get what you deserve. You always do when you get the World card, but it's just going to take a little longer to become obvious to you. So in the meantime, definitely keep the faith. This is all about you really having to maintain faith, blind faith, because I'm getting that a lot of you are going to feel very frustrated and tired during this space, and you're going to need to tap into something in the external to help you keep going, okay? And then we have the third house, which is messages. So messages, for a long time in tarot was just basic communication, but now this is where we put vehicles and technology, anything having to do with communicating and transference, okay? This is also how we think, speak, on top of communicate. It represents our need to know and demonstrates how we put our concepts and thoughts into words. So, again, this is the house of technology, of text messages, of emails, phone calls, and again, any way we communicate. And this really is, guys, the house of the mind. This is a Mercury energy having to do with the giving and receiving of information. And this does indicate a great time to start a business for those of you who are interested in this area, like creating software or something to do with deciphering codes and messages, anything like that. So we're going to have this polarity here between this communication house and faith. So this can simply be like what we believe to be true in the world, and there being a changing in our faith system, in our value system, and how it is that we communicate properly with the people in our life, okay? And then we have the conjunction empowerment. Conjunction is when one planet is at a close degree, like within an orb of 8 degrees or less, either in the same sign or in 2 consecutive signs. That's what that means. But here in this deck, it stands for empowerment. Okay? So the conjunction occurs, again, when 2 planets meet. And it's an aspect, though, that it really does reveal our muscle and our mojo. You know, it's like a saturated point of empowerment in life for us, and our potential for really becoming very involved in something, very entrenched in one particular way of being, okay? Because conjunctions lead to concentrations of energy, you know? So the greatest gift of this aspect is to teach us how to align our desires with our actions, because there's a lot of energy here. This is like a very hot energy. So we have all of this energy. What do we do with it? We don't want to become imbalanced. So this allows us to understand how to align our desires with our actions. So when this shows up, it asks that you explore what you've been in your life, what you've been defending, and where you might benefit from a little more loosening up. You know, what habit or maybe less than conscious behavior is starting to make you feel kind of undone and off balance, you know? And how can you be in the world where you're neither offending anyone or defending yourself, where you're just being you, where you're not being misunderstood? As I'm feeling, a lot of Scorpios have been feeling very, very misunderstood lately. And this energy advises you here to stand your ground and be the best version of yourself you could be. You know, feel the earth under your feet. And just feel very steady in your convictions right now, because you're going to need that. Because there are going to be communications coming in and out, and people are going to be pushing your buttons like nobody's business. So this really is, you know, the idea here is to protect yourself through fairness and through recognizing your own weaknesses in how you communicate. Because in recognizing your own weaknesses and really looking at that, that's where you're going to become empowered, you know? And then we have the Princess of Swords, which is the heart chakra. And this asks for you to think about, whose approval do you need right now? Even if you don't want to admit it, like deep down, because this does show fears being revealed. You know, this is a fire of air energy with the Taurus and Gemini association. So when we think of air plus fire, what do we normally think about is like lightning and thunder, right? So this indicates something coming out, something unexpectedly. It's like something is revealed, it comes out, and then it's like this whirlwind where something comes out, something gets exposed, and then you're just left feeling very confused, like kind of like a shitstorm hits, and you need to pick up the pieces of the outcome. Now, this can be in any area really, but it is a swords energy, which is words, and we are dealing with, you know, communication here with messages. Okay, so this could be really in any area, guys. This could be this can indicate disputes at work, tensions within families, romantic relationships. And the thing is here, though, right, when you get this, you're probably not responsible for the cause of the issue. But the way you respond is something that you're going to definitely be held accountable for. So this is all about expecting the unexpected during this, having to do with messages coming in or out, okay? This could also be something suddenly happening with your technology or your car. And I do want to just, you know, give a little reminder. I said I wasn't going to really get into what else is going on in the sky, but we are having this Mercury retrograde next month, and we're dealing with shadows. So just something to keep in mind. That's all. Mercury is retrograde half of our life, so we can't like stop because of that, right? We just have to be a little more careful, okay? All right, and then we have this, the Wheel of Fortune, which is, this is beautiful, right? Now the heart chakra, okay? So things are happening, all right? I love the Wheel of Fortune because it is the Wheel of Fate. So, you know, while it typically does have a positive outcome, you know, normally does, you want to just be mindful of the understanding that what you do now is going to drive this outcome. Okay, if that makes sense. So, lots of chance meetings here, guys. Unexpected offers, news coming in quickly, right? Your intuition is going to be turned way up, and people from the past are going to be reappearing, guys. This is okay. This is a very auspicious energy for communicating with family and friends and people you haven't seen in a while, whatever, right? With Scorpio, this does, and this is a very strong indicator of an ex-partner or love interest coming back. And you're going to need to decide if your relationship is going to work this time, if it's going to succeed. Because one thing this energy doesn't support is you trying to make it work when it's not. And you're going to feel it, right? If it's right, it'll go smoothly, you know? And for others of you regarding career and money, news is coming in, and it's coming in quickly. That's not only going to improve your situation, but it's going to put you in a space where you're going to need to prioritize demands put upon yourself to quickly adapt to new changes and challenges, but good ones, like good challenges. And for many of you, there's going to be an unexpected change in your living arrangements at this time. It's going to come as a surprise, but it's really going to be very beneficial for you in the long term. So we do like that. And then the next house you're going to be dealing with this eclipse in is your 8th house, which is the house of endings and beginnings. And, you know, I always say with this house, this is where it gets, you know, a little weird and mysterious. The 8th house represents the darkness before the light, you know, even though new beginnings, you could feel them, you know, on the way. You're still in the space of grappling with the darkness a little bit, you know, in the unknown for a little bit longer. So traditionally, the 8th house is about sex and death and psychic powers and control, material things such as money and inheritance that belong to other people, but things that you may end up owning ultimately, or at least partly so, right? But more than anything, this is really about transformation. And this is not a time to play mind games with yourself at all. No superficialities, nothing like that. This is a space where you'll be really looking at your life's choices and the need for change and the areas that you need to really change. Because something that's been in your life for a long time, Scorpio, is gonna crumble. But it's going to crumble only to be built back up in a different way. And the thing is, you're not going to be able to move forward without taking care of the situation and certain changes that have to happen first before you move ahead with any sense of clarity. And, you know, this might be uncomfortable, okay? It's not supposed to be easy. But the 8th house is about the beginning and the end, and the end and the beginning, right? So many of you are going to be faced with this, you know, I've been calling it like a metaphorical doorway, because I think you guys are like the 3rd sign that is going to be dealing with the 8th house. It's like this doorway is going to pop up in your life, this metaphorical doorway, that you know intuitively you should not go through that doorway. But you are going to feel so unbelievably tempted. And those of you who are resonating with this know exactly what I mean, okay? You have the opportunity to walk through this space, but you shouldn't, all right? This is about tapping into your intuition and choosing the right path. This does not mean anyone's going to die. I mean, this is not an indicator, okay? Because a lot of people see the skull and endings, beginnings. I mean, death is a natural part of life, but that's not what this energy indicates. But it can mean for many of you that you end up dealing with things passed on to you, like inheritance issues, deeds, trusts, insurance policies, goods of those who have passed away. But it can also be like alimony or child support from the death of a marriage, that kind of thing, and even taxes. So this house also indicates what a partner owns and their resources and finances that you can end up acquiring through the relationship. So besides the transformational component of this house, it also does really put you in a space of getting these incredible insights. You know, and it supports you going through this time of renewal where you're going to feel like you're being given a second chance at something. So even though there was a period of darkness, there is something so much better to replace whatever is taken away here. Okay? And those of you who know regular tarot, this is very much a 9 of Swords energy. Okay? And then we have Gemini the butterfly, which is what the universe wants us to adapt some Gemini qualities. And this is all about Gemini, right? Ruled by Mercury. It's all about communication, translation, adaptation, rising to meet the current emotional moment like a mood ring. I mean, they are just, you know, Geminis are just very flexible, extremely social, great party planners. Geminis are all about mixing and mingling. Adapting this is going to really serve you while you're going through this with this endings and beginnings. This energy encourages you to Pay attention to all the details around you and be curious and be uninhibited when it comes to all kinds of communication and meeting people, and be excited, not scared, for any of the transformations that are happening here. As you know, Gemini's always embrace change rather than fear it, typically the typical archetype. And this is the advice for you guys here with this 8th house of endings and beginnings, okay? And then we have the 3 of Cups reversed, and this has to do with the solar plexus, which has to do with, solar plexus has to do with making plans, right? And what we think and what those thoughts lead us to do, okay? This is a Mercury and Cancer energy, and when it's reversed, the 3 of Cups can indicate a flirtation or an indulgence that's gone too far with affairs and heated emotions, guys, okay? In established relationships, you might be feeling distant or a lack of cohesion and understanding in this space. Someone close may be very overly opinionated and egotistical that you're having to deal with. And the dynamics of a close relationship, it could be romantic or friendship, but it becomes awkward and skewed and crooked and just not right in some way. Emotional betrayal in friendships is also a very common meaning in this energy. So some of you may also be struggling with your creativity now and feel blocks in areas that you want to move ahead in, which can be really frustrating. So the accumulation of all of this can be very demotivating, right? So some of you may be really struggling with your motivation right now. And this energy recommends that if you're feeling like that, take a break until you feel more grounded and less affected by somebody else's emotional demands, you know? For some of you also, I do want to say this can indicate an irritating undercurrent of some sort of health issue that needs your attention. Guys, but I do want to indicate too, minor arcana. So these are not long-lasting energies. These are going to be hitting you within this time period and just going to be something that you have to deal with. But what's even the minor arcanas, these are seeds that are help pushing the transformation. So it's all these little seeds that have been pushing you since last July, and they're going to continue pushing you until next July, until this whole story is over, okay, with this Cancer Capricorn eclipse, okay? And then we have the 6 of Swords reverse, again, another third eye chakra energy, struggling to decipher if your feelings about something are real or not. Yeah, that's what that indicates. So this is a Mercury and Aquarius energy, and when this card is reversed, the meaning is similar to the upright in that it indicates you moving on from one situation or relationship, you know, to another, just to kind of, you know, well, the upright means, you know, for peace and harmony and more of a detachment, right, is when it's upright. But when it's reversed, it typically indicates leaving, physically leaving, not just detaching emotionally, but leaving an unsatisfying situation, and you want to, but there's a delay because certain problems need to be addressed and resolved before you can be totally free from this. So you want to make sure that you check your intentions and that they're sound and on the up and up, and that you're looking in the right direction, then becoming fixated on a certain outcome, which can end up blinding you to other possibilities that might be available to you. So keep your plans very realistic right now. Even if you feel frustrated by any lack of progress, just stay focused and grounded, because you're going to feel when the right time to move is, for sure, okay? So, and that makes sense with the endings and beginnings, okay? And then we have the 2nd house of owning, which is all about the physical, right? What you own in the physical. It's the house of money. It's about, you know, what you want, movable goods. This is ruled by Taurus, which is just about solid reality, creature comforts, lifestyle, areas supported primarily in the physical realm, okay? And it's also where your power in the world lives, where you feel empowered and where you feel disempowered. Because in addition to money and possessions, coins, pentacles, anything like that also represents talents, personal values, self-esteem, the ability to maintain a comfortable home, okay? It's about what we decide to utilize or manifest in the physical realm. you know, but in very quantifiable terms, you know, like money, comfort, family, happiness. Those are very quantifiable. And we can also see our values play out, our self-esteem play out, and how that ends up inflecting everything in this house. So there are going to be some shifts and some funneling of energies between endings and beginnings and what we own. Okay, this again, this funneling of energy. So for the message from the universe, we have the opposition balance. Okay, so this is planets within 8 degrees or less of one another that are 6 signs apart. So for you it would be Taurus. Okay, so the advice from this card is to check in with yourself about any excess or extremes operating in your life right now. You know, where you going? Are you going overboard in any area? You're obsessing in any area? You know, start to explore what balance actually looks like for you. For you, because it's different for everyone. And the potential of what balance can bring you. You know, what areas of your life need more love? Where might you be giving away parts of yourself in a relationship that you shouldn't? You know, does your angry boss represent a part of your own rage that needs to be channeled? Can the admiration that you feel for your partner be turned back on yourself in a way of you showing yourself self-love? So this energy is asking you to pay attention to your own contradictions right now. You know how you'll tend to give, but then you won't get anything back. And because you're probably not looking for anything back really, but then you have this emptiness. And you know, this energy asks for you to find that balance, because there should be more balance. Balance is healthy, you know, and look for those contradictions and see how they might be impacting the way that things show up for you in your second house of what you own. Okay, and then we have the 5 of coins, which is the throat chakra, and this is all about what you see in your life right now. In your own life is all your own creation, for good or bad. And it's just telling you to recognize that, right? Because this is a Mercury and Taurus energy, and while the traditional meaning does indicate financial loss, which can mean losing your job or a relationship or experiencing some other financial or emotional hardship, this often comes to show more of a fear of those things and an isolation than the actual hardship. So it typically indicates a fear of losing something, like losing the security of a home, or fearing the aftermath of a relationship, you know, after a breakup, you know, where one partner feels alone and depleted. So many of you may be feeling this sense of sadness as a result of losing someone close to you, or not having a situation work out the way you thought it would be. And this would have to do with something connected with this second house. So because the second house are things we own, and you know, we own our homes and we own things in it, this can absolutely be, because this is more of a result card, you know, a relationship ending, or even losing a job and then not having enough money to have what we need, right, for around the house, or you know, could be many things, however that could be connected. And then we have the 10 of coins reversed. This is a solar plexus energy. This asks for you to get in touch with what you think and where it's leading you. And when it comes to communication problems having to do with a partner, family, or someone at work. Okay, so this typically shows up when there is contention over a specific issue, such as like property or money. This could also indicate you or someone close to you feeling like they're not being treated fairly and with the respect that they deserve, right? Because Pentacles can mean that also. Just feeling very emotionally imbalanced, or struggling with some kind of annoying health issue that needs addressing as well. And that's the second card I got on that. So where I'm getting that same message. So make sure you pay attention, guys. If something is not sitting right with you regarding your health, do get that checked out during this season. But yeah, okay, Scorpio, that's what I have for you guys. I hope this was helpful. It's just seeds for thought, and I'll see you guys for the beginning of July. See you next time. Bye bye.